the third eye became a book is because people started to use my copyrights and adapted my work, source work, to the screen, which is what Hollywood does, and a lot of people need to know that. They don't have or create original thoughts or words or work. That's why they used to buy it before they start stealing it. But after they felt like they could steal it and own the whole copyrights, they stopped buying it from the people. That's why they got it all in-house. In fact, they steal from their own producers and so forth. A lot of people don't know that. If you don't have any source work, you can't create a movie. It's just a fact. And you guys are very familiar with a lot of people's work, source work, like John Grisham's The Pelican Brief, The Firm, J.R. Tolkien's, who's dead, Lord of the Rings. When Peter Jackson adapted his work to the screen, he had already passed away. So Hollywood, that's what they do, is take source work and adapt it to the screen. And they change the name sometime, whether they buy it or they steal it, it doesn't matter. And this is why you know that Harlan Ellison is not the writer of The Terminator. James Cameron is not the writer of The Terminator. And the Wachowski brothers are not the writers of The Matrix. They don't even know what The Matrix is. James Cameron doesn't even know what The Terminator is. Doesn't have an idea of a naked, microchipped cyborg that comes from a future, because he doesn't even understand that the machines in the future would be microchipped, cloned with superhuman brains and manageable chipped implants. That's something that only a visionary seer can possibly know and see and describe. Not somebody saying they had a dream, like Cameron, where he saw the machines coming out of the fire. And now, that's how you make metal. That's how you make old metal robots out of the fire, iron. And the Wachowski's saying they saw a lot of kung fu movies. Matrix doesn't have nothing to do with kung fu. That's just the art of fighting. Matrix is about a system, a holographic system that's wrapped around you where you, like Morpheus say, where you can't taste it and you can't smell it. But you know the Matrix is there, and it's there watching you, and then you're involved and you're being deceived by the illusions that the Matrix is creating. You don't know what is reality or what's fake, because you're being guided by so many programs and so many illusions. Are you asleep, or are you awake? Are you going through evolution, or are you regressing from evolution? These are the questions. This is what the Matrix is all about. It's not about kung fu fighting, and it's not about a machine coming out of the fire, iron, metal. And I know people who have bought my book know this, because almost 30 years ago, my copyrights are 81, 83, and 84. And as you can see, I was the one playing computer games. And I'm talking about computerized games in the future, that in the drones. And I'm talking about virtual reality and scanners and barcodes and virtual reality and digital downloading. That's all in my book. And I'm talking about the Illuminatis and the Trilateral Commissions and the Federal Reserve and the money and the media and the machines that dominate our world and create programs.
You explain how matrix means womb. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yes. The matrix is mentioned 5 times in the Bible. Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse, God says, "He who opens the matrix is mine." And what God is saying, since matrix is Latin for womb, he says every child that comes through the womb is born with a soul. And that's why when you go to the Terminator, Sarah Connor is Neo's mother. Sarah Connor is going to have the baby. Neo is just an anagram or a sneaky way of calling him the One. O-N-E-N-E-O, one and the same. In other words, John Connors, J.C., Jesus Christ, is equal to Neo, one and the same. And so what happens on this is this one epic story. It's the path of Neo, or the journey of the One. And the Terminator has to come from the future to kill the mother who's going to have the baby that's going to destroy them when he gets to the age 30. And the Terminator is the beginning of the epic. So it's in the past. It's time travel. It's past, present, and future time travel, which the Bible is divided up into. When you look at the Old Testament, that's our past. And when you look at the New Testament, that's our present, what's happening right now, right to this day. And then when you look at Revelations, that is what we will become. That is our future. So that's how the Matrix is broken into time travel. So when you look at the 3 Terminator movies, you're going to the past and you're looking at how the One was born and his mother and what happens to him as he's growing up. In Terminator 2, he looks like a girl because I said on paper that I put him as a girl because the machines are looking for him to kill him. And so they're looking for male children that are exhibiting unusual gifts. And they're not looking at the females. That's why he has the long hair and the earring and he looks unisex. And then he sleeps consciously until he will be awakened to his purpose. So in Terminator 3, Terminator's protecting him, and you see the Terminator protecting him, and he doesn't know what's going on, why someone is trying to kill him. Then he goes and he's hidden in the city, which is the Matrix. He's hidden in the Matrix city. When he reaches 30 years of age, the rebellion or the revolution starts. That's where Matrix Revolution comes from. The rebels come to him, and they have a different heads on them. One, you saw the rabbit on the girl's arm, but of course, in the one version of the movie you guys seen, that it was on her shoulder blade in the back. But anyway, this guy were called the 7 heads, and they all and not for the machines to know who the people were of that organization. They all carried a different head on them. And anyway, the rebels came. They knew where he was hidden. And when he reached 30 years of age, it was time for the rebellion or the revolution to start. They needed to take him to the oracle. The oracle is the female or the feminine prophet, because in the first coming of Christ, John the Baptist is a male prophet, and I say that it should be a woman the second time he comes around, because he comes from the female or the feminine energy. He comes through the womb, the matrix. He comes through the matrix womb. And, of course, Morpheus has to put him through training so he can be prepared and have the history and knowledge of the machines. He goes through the pod. That's the cleansing, the same cleansing that Christ had of the water. His human side dies. His spiritual side is born. The energy comes inside of him, and now he's able to fly like Superman. He's able to step into the void. He's able to change the dimensions around him. He's able to break up antimatter. When he jumps into Agent Smith's body, matter going into antimatter or against matter makes him explode. And since Agent Smith is not, he's antimatter, he's not matter, that's why Neo was able to blow him up. And then when you go through Neo's body, when you go from faith through him, it's the healing or the resurrection. If you were dead, now you are able to be resurrected. Because everything is polarity or polar. And these are the things that were never told to you guys even though you looked at the movie, and Matrix can't be whatever you want it to be. It can't be your own interpretation because you didn't write it. It has to be whatever the author is that wrote it. And no author is going to give anybody credence to think their work is anything they want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
That don't even make any sense. Don't you know what you created if you wrote it? Terminator Matrix around the globe made $25 billion. Matrix 1, when it was released in 1999, made $1 billion by itself and won 4 Oscars. They don't want to talk about the 4 Oscars. You don't even want to hear about it because they know they belong to me. It's a tribute to the black work. They don't even claim Matrix 1 and Terminator 1. They have never even applied for the trademarks for either. They wanted to steal the characters out of Matrix 1, and they applied for Matrix 2 and 3, Terminator 2 and 3, and the government won't give it to them. No trademarks because they don't have any copyrights. They don't have any copyrights. They don't have any mark in commerce. In order to get a trademark, you have to have a copyright, and you have to have used the work or sold the work in commerce for there to be a mark. And what they were trying to use for Terminator 2 and 3 and Matrix 2 and 3 were words in cartoon drawings. But they wouldn't swear under oath. They wouldn't swear under oath because the lawyers who try to get the trademarks for them and the clients both will go to jail when it's found out they don't have any copyrights. Mm-hmm. They've killed a lot of people for these publishing rights and copyrights as long as they get to own them. They're not going to kill you if they don't own them. They might have a chance to get them from you. All you got to do is look deep. Now look at the shallowness, but look underneath it. Because there's nothing. I wrote the Matrix. Nothing is it as it appears. It's all these programs and all these illusions were out there. And who controls these illusions? Who controls these programs? Who are the greatest mathematicians of the wizards is in Hollywood? Holly, the tree holly, the holly tree, is where the witches used to make their wands from, magic wands.
That's right.
That's why they call it Hollywood, because the wizards and warlocks are creating magic for you on the screen. And not only are they creating magic for you on the screen, they are creating all these programs out here ran by their mass media. And every time you look at billboards and read newspapers and magazines and television and movies, you are getting programs by subliminals. Subliminal messages are bombarding your every wake and your every sleep. Because when you leave your TV on, your TV is programming you. And every time you drive and you look at billboards, you're being programmed. And when you go to school and you're born, you come out of the womb, you have the natural gifts of God, and you know all knowledge. But then when you get into the school, it's a boot camp, and what they do is they break you down in boot camp, and then they insert their own programs in you, same as for the military, same as the police academy. Why do you think they have these schools and academies? Well, it's the truth. Well, I know it sounds drastic, and I know it sounds funny, but truth is very strange and very funny. But it's very real. We live in a robotic world. The Matrix is around us. And it somehow people were asleep until my work came upon the screen. And they didn't know that my work was going to be that devastating, where it was going to put people through evolution and that they were going to awaken. But tell yourself this. Ask yourself this very deep question. How else were you going to wake up?